So just orientation, we're in Cataldo right now, which is way over here. This is the lower Coeur d'Alene River as it goes into Coeur d'Alene Lake. We're standing at the Cataldo boat launch. And this is a heavily used recreation site within the basin. There are plans for EPA to do some remedial work with the Coeur d'Alene Custodial Work Trust here actually in the next month perhaps. The tribe has been heavily involved in this project through the design process and the cultural resource monitoring and investigation and monitoring with our tribal historic preservation officer as well as the state historic preservation officer. This site you have right behind you is this grassy area with this tree is going to stay like this as EPA does the remedy throughout the basin where we have trees and vegetation already covering areas that could get potentially recontaminated. We leave these in place. We have these educational signs that talk about the history of the site. And we're going to walk down to the riverbank so you can get a visual with this water being so low of some high concentrations of lead and the other contaminants of concern that continue to remain in the river banks. So something unique about this boat launch, it's within Kootenai County, adjacent to a state park with tribal land ownership, but Shoshone County actually does the maintenance. So this is an example of where there's a lot of coordination that needs to take place in the Silver Valley when we're doing any type of cleanup or any work. And so right here is the Coeur d'Alene River, and if you look across the way you can see some sloughing riverbanks. That one point right there has been a point of reference for us for many years as we continue to monitor how the riverbanks slough due to either boat wakes or changes in the hydrology in the area. This is heavily utilized and private ownership. The tribe owns this piece back here where the old dredge operated. We're gonna walk over there here so you can see some of those spoils that have remained in place. Currently, there are no plans for cleanup. However, we will continue to work with our partners at EPA and the Work Trust. So here in the next couple of weeks, they are going to redo this boat launch and put in some gravel cap areas where there's some erosion. This site, the water level gets all the way up to the base of that tree sometimes, if not to the signs up there during a high water event. And so this site gets recontaminated quite often, as with most of the recreation sites throughout the basin and the lower basin especially. The only plan for cleaning off sites that have sedimentation during a high water event is to just spray off those locations. So it's not the most palatable plan of action, but it's the only thing that we have in place right now. Just one more thing to add here. When EPA was conducting their remedial investigation feasibility study, they sampled all the riverbeds for contaminants, and this site we know is hot. There have been demonstration projects proposed to potentially dredge here. I think the plan is in the works for a dredge project further downstream at Dudley Reach. And then there's also plans to do some riverbank stabilization. I believe Ed has told us through all of the sampling and modeling that about 70% of the transportation of contaminants come from the riverbed itself and about 30% from the banks. So there's been a lot of pressure from the community to do just bank stabilization, but the tribe is continuing to push for addressing the riverbed as well.